And welcome to the Nasboys Sports Podcast. Now, did you know that for the first time in NFL history, the Super Bowl will not feature any of the top three seeds from either conference? So anyways, guys, welcome to the Nasboys Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Mike, a.k.a. Mike Bob Fan 101, with my good friend and co-host, Christian, a.k.a. C. Will.
What's up, guys? Hope you're having a great week. And yeah, we got a lot to get into. Just a lot of stuff this past week in sports, especially in the NBA, but not only that, the NFL too.
Absolutely. So we are going to start off with the NFL, kicking it off with Championship Sunday. The first game, Bengals and Chiefs, I was unfortunately not able to watch. I only watched maybe like a couple of plays in the first quarter. Christian, were you able to watch it?
I didn't watch, I watched 10 minutes of the Bengals and Chiefs game because I was just so busy with stuff this weekend. But I did watch the highlights, and it looked like a really good game, but the Chiefs choked. The Bengals overcame an 18-point deficit to come back and win 27-24. Another overtime win for the Bengals. And, the Chiefs had the home field advantage, and after a little while, we were like, man, Chiefs probably going to hold it off. But the Bengals came back, and Joe Burrow had another great game, and then McPherson with another clutch field goal. Right. It's really cool to see the Bengals in the Super Bowl again, and just their story, them after all they've been through the last couple of years, to them make it to the Super Bowl. Very happy for them, and I'm just glad that the Chiefs are not in it for the third year in a row. Even though Mahomes had a good game, Patrick Mahomes had a great game. He had like 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, and it was just a great game in general.
Yeah, I love how you had to specify Patrick Mahomes because we all know Jackson isn't doing crap. Fuck it, Jackson. But yeah, I'm so happy for the Bengals. I'm not a Bengals fan. I'm a Washington fan, unfortunately. We'll get into them in a little bit. But I'm happy for them. I really like the comeback of being one of the worst teams in the NFL, and now they're one of the best teams in the NFL, and they're about to go play in the Super Bowl. So very impressive. Joe Burrow, he's a great quarterback. I love how he's staying calm, especially with his team going to the Super Bowl. He's like, we're not satisfied. We have to go and win one more. So it's like awesome. He's not overly celebrating yet. So it'll be interesting to see either of the teams in the Super Bowl win because they both have some meaning behind it, which we'll get into later on with the Rams and the 49ers game. This went about as I expected, besides the 49ers leading the game early. So let me get your take on it first. I watched the end of the game for this one.
Rams 49ers. I watched the end of it because I was at an event, but I thought the 49ers were going to win. I mean, they were ahead I think they were ahead like 20. I want to say they were ahead 17-7 at one point heading into the fourth quarter, and the Rams ended up coming back and winning. Matthew Stafford had an amazing game, 327 yards and 2 touchdowns. But Cam Akers did pretty well run the ball. But the 49ers defense did really decent this game, but they just got tired. And they had too many mistakes at the end of the game. And I know one big mistake was just Jimmy Garoppolo just throwing the ball up in the air and just, not thinking about what he was going to throw because he had a lot of pressure at him the whole night.
Garoppolo under pressure. Donald got there in the air, intercepted by the Rams, and they may ride to the Super Bowl on that.
With Aaron Donald and Von Miller and a bunch of other guys just rushing in on him, the offensive line kept collapsing, and he had to keep running for his life back in the backfield. But Matthew Stafford got pressured a lot too. There was one play where he threw and he hit his hand on Cam Akers' helmet and busted his hand open. But 49ers, I thought they were holding their own, especially on the road. I was like, man, they might actually win. But the Rams ended up winning after they got a field goal. and then they had that interception at the end of the game. So I'm glad to see the Rams in the Super Bowl. I know some people are like, oh, it's rigged. They just want LA to be in LA at home, sort of thing. But I think the
Yeah.
Bengals and Rams is going to be a great Super Bowl. I hope it is.
Yeah, I dealt with a couple of salty fans. One person was confused with me saying something, and the other one said it was rigged. So, yeah, I got some laughs last night. But yeah, overall, the second game of the night it was pretty good for what I saw. The ending, like I said, about what I expected. Garoppolo kind of blew it because he got pressured. I don't know if it was the 49ers O-line that blew it or if it was Garoppolo, because I didn't see them really trying to double team Aaron Donald unless they did, and I completely missed it. So someone correct me if I'm wrong, but it just looked like Aaron Donald had a clear path to Garoppolo, and you can't do that. When Aaron Donald is one of the best defensive players in the game, you cannot leave him open like that to go get your quarterback. And Garoppolo was holding the ball too long, and that wasn't his only instance. There were a couple more instances in that game where he could have thrown the ball away, and he didn't. He held the ball, and he got sacked. So Garoppolo, I don't know. He's a pretty mid-tier quarterback to me. I don't really see all the hype behind him.
Well, I mean, I don't think he's a bad quarterback. There were some mistakes that weren't his fault either, but I was going to say this as well. At the beginning of the fourth quarter, I thought the Rams made a mistake when they tried to challenge what they thought was a fumble, even though the run back's knee was down and they ran out of timeouts. I was like, well, that's going to affect them later on in the game, but it ended up not doing so. The Rams were able to use clock and be able to give the 49ers maybe a minute left to try to do something, and the 49ers only have one timeout.
Right.
So they didn't have much of a chance, especially since they were back at their 20-yard line. But there's two players that really impressed me in this game. Cooper Kupp, wide receiver for the Rams. He had 2 touchdowns. He made a lot of great catches down the stretch. Same thing as Odell Beckham. He had some good catches too. And Odell has had a really good season this year. So props to him, despite him being injured a lot of the past couple seasons and having controversy. Odell Beckham seems to has turned things around, and hopefully he doesn't act up off the field.
It probably was Cleveland's offensive coordinator or maybe Baker. I don't know. Something's wrong with Cleveland's offense. I got to figure that out because they could be a good team in the future. But now let's get into some news in the NFL. The big news over the weekend, besides the championship Sunday games, Tom Brady's retirement. So Adam Schefter had reported that Tom Brady had officially retired, and a lot of fans were stunned by this because they didn't expect him to go out on a loss. And Brady has been contemplating retirement over the past few seasons, and it's never happened because, he can still play. He still moves around well for being a 40-something-year-old quarterback.
Yeah.
And, everybody thought that it was the day, but then he called into the office and said, no, I still haven't made my decision on retirement. So Adam Schefter basically fumbled the bag and made everybody worry for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen lots of news outlets over the years jump the gun on stuff and be incorrect. And ESPN, they haven't done that in a minute recently until what happened with Brady. And Brady reportedly, like you said he hadn't gone to the general manager, he hadn't gone to the agent or whatever about his decision to retire. So we just got to wait, I guess, a couple more weeks or maybe even a month before we know what his decision will be. But I remember everyone was just, look, some people were surprised he was retiring because I remember he was saying, oh, I still got 3 years left. And then him to retire, some people were surprised and sad. And then there's some people that are very happy about it. So we'll just have to see where it goes from here.
Okay, guys, so I'm just editing this video, and the morning that I'm editing this, Tom Brady actually retired. So Adam Schefter did not fumble the bag too hard. He just did it a little early. But nevertheless, thank you, Brady. It was such an honor to watch you play, and I'm going to miss you, man. I remember all the times that I've gotten mad over the Patriots, and I took it for granted. So thank you, Brady, even though I can't believe he didn't thank the Patriots fans. More on this next episode. I think he should play maybe 1 or 2 more seasons and then he should retire. But I think that, he's still a great quarterback, obviously. He's Tom Brady, so I don't see really any sign of him slowing down, so we'll see what happens with that. Eagles OG Brandon Brooks is retiring. Vikings are the biggest sleeper to get Deshaun Watson. That's a little surprising to me. What are they going to do with Cousins? Just trade him, I guess. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Vikings. I don't think they'll get him.
Where was this source, Mike?
I thought I saw it on like JPA or something like that. I don't know.
JPA, I don't know, man. They're kind of tripping. Cousins wasn't the problem in Minnesota. We've talked about this before. Why would they get Watson if they already have Kirk Cousins? Cousins is not a bad quarterback. I've been saying this for years. But Watson hasn't played in 2 years, Mike, and he's had some inconsistency. He has to get. I feel like some other team should get him, not the Vikings. I
agree with you on that part, but I understand why they would want him at least. Juju Smith-Schuster, who's going to be a free agent when the offseason officially begins, is looking to sign with the Chiefs. I'm going to make this generic joke as well. He just wants to make TikToks with Jackson. So, in all seriousness, though, not a bad move for the Chiefs. It will add to their wide receiver core. So maybe they could try to pick him up. We'll see what happens.
Oh, man, I think you're right. I think he's either trying to get more TikTok clout or he's trying to bandwagon since the Chiefs are a good team. Tutu, I wish he would stay in Pittsburgh, but, everyone was making jokes a couple years ago about how the Steelers were like the TikTok team of the NFL.
Because it was the truth.
If he joins the Chiefs, then they'll be known as the TikTok team of the NFL. So, yeah, that's interesting.
And then next up, we got Dan Quinn resigns with the Cowboys. Not shocking.
Not surprised.
Bears hire former Colts defensive coordinator Dan Elberfluss to be their new head coach.
Never heard of him.
I have not either. Broncos hire Packers offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett. This is not the only offensive move or offensive disappearance for the Packers, as their quarterbacks coach is going to be going to the Bears to be their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the Packers quarterback coach is honestly going to be Aaron Rodgers since he's been there for so many years. So I don't think that them losing a quarterback's coach would be a big deal. But the Broncos need more offense, so that works.
It might be because Rodgers might be leaving.
Well, we'll see if he does. Maybe he might go to the Broncos.
Very true. The Washington football team's new name is set to be announced on Wednesday. I'm sure you'll probably have seen the name by the time this video gets uploaded. But and on Thursday, there will be a roundtable for the continuing investigations of the team's previous culture. That's just such a Washington thing. You have like one sort of triumph. You're announcing the new name, the new era of Washington football. And then you have to go to Congress to have a meeting. So I don't know what to say about that. I've seen a lot of rumors of what the new name is going to be. It's between probably the Red Hogs and the Commanders, but I think they're leaning more towards the Commanders. The Commanders is not a bad name. I think it does fit with the whole DC theme, since DC is the nation's capital and the military. Just use your logic. But I've also seen a bunch of people saying that they're afraid they're going to be called, instead of like comms, they're going to be called the commies. So it will be the America's team versus the commies. And I'm like, great. I didn't think of that till now.
Another way to bring politics into the NFL.
Exactly. So, yeah, but other than that, I like the name. So I don't hate it. I don't love it. I just like it. So, yeah. Eagles could pursue wide receiver DJ Chark.
Yeah, I mean, as an Eagles fan, there's nothing really to say about it.
Washington has signed linebacker David Mayo to a 1-year extension. I don't care. I just mentioned that. All right, so now moving on to the NBA.
Oh, I was going to say this too. we had to bring up the guy that has had a lot of clownery over the past couple months, and that's Antonio Brown. He went on Logan Paul's podcast to talk about what went on that day when he ran on the field, and he talked about Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger. He didn't mention anything about Brady retiring. He did give praise to Brady and Roethlisberger, saying they were two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He seemed to like he was cool with them. And then when they asked him about why he ran on the field without his shirt off, and the thing that still confuses me and confuses all of us is if you have an ankle injury, why are you hopping around on the field?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That didn't make any sense. But he said basically that the coach, Bruce Arians, when Arians asked him to go in the game, he said he couldn't because of ankle injury. Arians told him he was fired and he should leave and told him that. And then that's why he said he also thought that the best way to go out would be to take off his shirt to impress the ladies and run off the field. That's what he said. So I don't know. It's just the best. But, AB is going to be AB.
Well, I heard that already. But yeah, it's still funny.
I guess that's the only way he thinks he could get girls other than try to mess with his artist.
Bro, he's a freaking football player. Or still.
Or go after his painters. That's what I meant by artists, but that's a bad joke, so we need to move on immediately.
Okay. All right, now the NBA. This took me 3 pages to write news for. A lot of trade rumors. So, all-star starters, first off. One of the biggest surprises for the all-star starters is I'm looking for my sheet here with them. Andrew Wiggins. He's starting over Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell. Why?
I'm telling you.
I don't understand. Andrew Wiggins is not a bad player. I hear he's playing at a high level, so, he should deserve an all-star recognition, but off the bench. How are you going to have so many good players in the West and you're just going to be like, oh, we're going to start Andrew Wiggins? Like, what?
Exactly. Mind-blowing. Like you said, there's a lot I could go into with statistics and all that to prove everyone's point of why he's in there. But then again, there's just a lot of the fan vote thing. It just shows you how inconsistent the fan vote is.
I agree.
What I'm expecting, one thing I'm also expecting is Klay Thompson to be in the All-Star game, even though he's just returned like weeks ago. They're still going to put him in, more likely because of the fan vote, which doesn't make any sense to me because he hasn't even played much.
Right.
And look at his numbers compared to other people. With
Right.
Wiggins maybe has a case for being in the All-Star game, but not as a starter. I mean, it's probably the Warriors bandwagon fans that voted him in to be a starter. I mean, I hate to sound like that, but it's the truth. It's weird because you're used to seeing they need a forward at that position, but why Wiggins? You could add someone else in. And I know KD's another one too that kind of bugged me was Kevin Durant to be a starter. The only reason why I don't think he should be starter is because he's probably not going to play and he's injured. That's why he shouldn't be in there, in my opinion, because he's not going to play. So there's just a lot of inconsistencies with the fan vote, and I think they need to change things. They need to have some real logical people making these decisions. And I thought Curry was going to be number one in voting this year. And I thought it was going to be like, oh, LeBron's not going to be number one. And then all of a sudden, the last week of the voting, LeBron suddenly becomes number one. So I don't know, man, Mike. It's just kind of weird, man.
Yeah. So the All-Star game is going to be between LeBron James and Kevin Durant's team. Kevin Durant is going to be the captain, but he's not going to play because he's hurt. So
yeah,
I think I have an idea who's going to replace him, but I don't know if they announced it yet, but we'll see. I don't know who they're going to say to replace him, but I have a couple of ideas. Maybe Jason Tatum. I don't know. But here are the All-Star West starters. LeBron James, Ja Morant, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, and Andrew Wiggins. Again, it makes complete sense besides Andrew Wiggins. I would have started Devin Booker or Donovan Mitchell.
I'm glad to see Ja Morant as a starter this year because Memphis has been much improved, and they're in a playoff contention right now. I think they're let me look at the standings. They are in
Third, right?
third. Yeah, they're third in the West. So John Morant's had a great season. It makes sense for him to be a starter, and then all these other ones too, especially for the East. The East starters make sense as well.
No, the East starters make complete sense. Kevin Durant as the captain, Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, DeMar DeRozan, and Trae Young. That makes complete sense to me. If anything, I would have started Zach LaVine maybe, but other than that, it makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's up between DeMar and Zach LaVine. They're two of the best shooting guards in the East. Maybe they should put Spencer Dinwiddie as a starter. I had to throw that joke in there. But yeah, Mike's over here wheezing. But yeah, or I am. But yeah, I agree with the East starters, except for Durant, like I mentioned a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, I think they're gonna obviously they're gonna have to replace him. I would probably replace him. I don't want to sound biased, so I'm gonna put another player, but I'll put Jason Tatum in.
I mean, Tatum's done good this year. He hasn't done as well. I think they should put Jimmy Butler.
Yes, I forgot about Jimmy Butler. That's a perfect.
See, Butler's been playing better than Tatum, and Tatum, yeah, he's been doing good, but he hasn't been doing good as Butler. I think another player that should be in it, and this may be a little biased, but a player that should be in the All-Star game, Miles Bridges. He's had a huge year for the Hornets. I mean, there was a stretch where he's averaging like 28 points a game, and he's done really good. Him and LaMelo have been huge for us.
I think I would prefer to put LaMelo in because Miles Bridges is very fun to watch, but LaMelo, he's got like excellent passing, great shooting, great driving. He'd just be so fun to watch, just like John Morant.
Yeah. My case for Bridges is just such a good all-around player. He could shoot the three. He could fly high, dunk on people,
right,
rebound, and he's had some good passes too. But him and LaMelo, they've been like the dunk or lob city of the East basically this year.
Exactly. Charlotte is one of the funnest teams to watch in the NBA.
And years ago, as a Hornets fan, I was kind of depressed about our team, and then now, starting last year, we saw hope, and then now this year we have a lot of hope. So just very good times right now for the Hornets.
So yeah, on February 3rd, they are going to be releasing the reserves for the All-Star game. I hope we do not see Klay Thompson or Kyrie Irving as they missed the beginning of the season. So I really don't want to see them. No disrespect to those guys. They're great players, but I just don't want to see them there when they have only played like a few games and some other guys get snubbed.
Yeah, I agree.
So now let's get into some trade rumors. The Lakers reportedly offered Talen Horton-Tucker, Kendrick Nunn, and a 2027 first-round pick to the Pistons for Jeremy Grant.
That's too much.
The Lakers didn't want to give up that pick for John Wall, so I don't know. Don't really know.
Well, 2027 is literally like 5 years from now, and the Lakers will probably not be a lottery team in 2027 unless LeBron retires beforehand. But that's too much for him, I think. I mean, Jeremy Grant, yes, he's a great player, but you're also getting rid of Talen Horton-Tucker. He's been really solid off the bench. And Kendrick Nunn, who can play really good at occasions, especially shooting. So I just don't think they should do that. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I don't really think it's that great of a move. So I don't have too much of an opinion on it. The Clippers and Heat have shown interest in John Wall if he gets bought out by the Rockets. Yes, put John Wall in the Clippers. I think he would do great with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and I would love to see that.
The only thing, I mean, yes, that sounds quite interesting. With the Clippers, they already have some guards, but I guess they're trying to get some more guard depth. But then again, John Wall is also the guy who you don't even know if he's going to play a certain amount of games each year. And we've kind of talked about this before. He's just inconsistent with his injuries. He gets injured all the time. And with Kawhi Leonard, he's had some injury problems too. But I know the Clippers ain't going to get rid of Kawhi, and I don't even know when he's going to return. Has he returned yet?
No, he's I think he's ahead of schedule in his rehab, but I don't think he's not returned yet. I just saw him play a couple nights ago.
Yeah,
Or not saw him play, that saw them play, excuse me.
Yeah, like the Clippers are 7th in the West, and they're 26 and 26. They did beat the Hornets yesterday, but I don't really know what else to really say about that.
The Charlotte Hornets have been rumored to want Ben Simmons. This is Christian's two favorite teams, Philadelphia and Charlotte. I believe Charlotte is number one from what he said. So Ben Simmons is basically jumping from one of your favorite teams to another one of your favorite teams. Don't get Ben Simmons, please.
This is literally like, I don't even know where these rumors come from because it's so stupid. Like, Simmons, Philadelphia's been wanting to get rid of Simmons forever. We've talked about this. I don't know how many times, Mike, at least 20 times on
Pretty
the podcast.
much every episode.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. Like, can we talk about someone else other than Ben for rumors? But like, I mean, honestly, Simmons, why would we want him? We already have great guards as it is. We have LaMelo, we have Terry Rozier.
Right.
Rozier's been doing great for us off the bench. Why would we want Simmons?
Right, I agree.
We already have great playmaking as it is.
I agree. They don't need him.
Yeah, I mean, the best or the most possible one that I thought of was when we talked about a couple weeks ago with De'Aaron Fox in Sacramento. That one made sense, but not this.
Right.
And
the Wizards.
I mean, wasn't there one about Westbrook, like to the Rockets or something like that too? I saw.
Yeah, I just mentioned that they want to trade John Wall for a reunion with Russell Westbrook, and then I heard a rumor that they were going to buy him out and then Russell would just be a free agent just to get rid of John Wall's contract.
I mean, Russell, the Lakers don't have LeBron right now. He's day to day. Anthony Davis has been in and out every once in a while. AD did come back like last week, but he was out for a couple games again. And with Westbrook, he's been sort of struggling. We all know what's going on with him. But Westbrook's still doing decent numbers wise. He's 18.9 points per game, 7.8 rebounds per game, and 7.7 assists per game. But he's been sort of struggling. I mean, 44% from the field and 30% from three. But speaking of numbers wise, a lot of people are going to talk about how Steph Curry's been struggling shooting the ball recently. He's been pretty bad from the 3-point line the last
shooting
couple
tour
of
dates.
weeks. I'm sorry, what you said?
I said he's shooting tour dates.
Yeah. So that's crazy. But what about the Wizards next?
The Wizards are making everybody except Bradley Beal basically available for trade.
Here we go, Washington. Here we go. We literally talked about this last week about what Wizards trade rumors, and here we go again with them trying to trade their whole team. It reminds me of like LeBron trying to trade the entire Cavs team, basically.
Listen, you can't trade everybody, of course. But if they do want to start like making a bunch of moves, please don't trade Kyle Kuzma. He's really good. Don't trade Daniel Gafford. He barely gets any minutes. He didn't play the last game that they played against Memphis, and they got killed. Please don't trade either of those three guys. Don't trade Montrezl Harrell. Other than those guys, everybody else, get out of here.
I knew you were punching the air watching that Memphis game, especially when John Morant did that windmill dunk.
You know, I was talking to Christian because sometimes me and Christian like have like meetings like to discuss stuff about the podcast and like just to ask questions like, hey, when do you want to record or what do you want to talk about here? Yeah, so we're doing that and Christian's talking to me and I'm watching this game and I almost wanted to like scream, but I didn't want to interrupt Christian. So I'm just sitting there like
man, I would pay to watch you react to games and like throw stuff. Honestly would, because it's kind of funny. I'm not saying it's funny to see you mad, but it's funny to just see your reaction sometimes listening to it on FaceTime calls when you're watching the Wizards games.
Yeah,
but
you would have to we should do that one time for a video. Maybe I can like go on a Zoom meeting and like record myself watching the game. And then you'd have like, it'd take you so long to edit it because of all the expletives. I may not cuss on camera because with YouTube's rules, But when I'm not on camera, I cuss like a sailor. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, speaking of violence, did you see where the Pelicans center Jackson Hayes got misdemeanor, 12 charges?
I did. Some incident in July. He I think he had domestic violence with his girlfriend. Then the police got called, and then they were like, "Hey, let us in," and then he didn't let them in. So they used force to get in, and he fought the police. Which I'm not gonna get into that, but that just
Yeah.
ugh.
I know some of I'm not going to say the joke I was going to say, but it's not even a joke. But Jackson Hayes, I mean, he was like a rookie last year, I think. There was a lot of hype around him being a star player and all that. And he has been struggling this year, and he's had so many, like, he had off the court issues, including this. And it's just sad to see. And, he shouldn't be beating up people and, hitting his girlfriend and stuff like that.
Exactly.
It's sad to see stuff like that. And I mean, it's happened a good bit and too much with athletes that it shouldn't be happening at all. And it's a mess. So hopefully he goes to jail and he does his time and knows and basically learns his lesson.
Well, he's still on the floor playing, so that's
he shouldn't be. He shouldn't be at all.
I agree. Heat have seriously pursued Christian Wood in trade talks. I don't think they really need Christian Wood. They have Bam Adebayo, so you don't really need Christian Wood.
Yeah, I mean Woods, he's been doing well for the Rockets, even though the Rockets are doing pretty bad, like record wise. But the Heat already have a lot of forwards as it is. I mean, Bam Adebayo can play power forward and center. I mean, they still have Iguodala.
Right.
Do they still have Iguodala on the Heat?
Or no, wait, he's on the Warriors.
No, he's on the Warriors. I mean, but they still have some good forwards around them, and exactly. I don't get why they would want Wood. But if they do, then they're going to be definitely a top team in the East again.
Oh yeah, remember how I was talking about screaming just a couple seconds ago? Imagine me watching that 35-point game where the Wizards blew the lead. They were up by 35 points. I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the life. I love watching my team up by 30. And then, okay, no big deal. I'm not surprised. They blow leads all the time. And then when they lost the game and the way they lost the game, I was embarrassed to be a Wizards fan.
Yeah.
And it was just funny because my mom bought me a hoodie. My mom just bought me a hoodie for Christmas of the Wizards, and it just came in. And I came in my room. I'm like, Mom, I'm embarrassed by the Wizards. And she's like, oh, God, I just got him the hoodie. I still love it, of course. I'm still a Wizards fan. I'm not a bandwagoner. Like if you're embarrassed by your team and then automatically go jump on the Warriors.
I remember seeing the clip of that happening, and I'm like, oh, Mike's probably punching stuff right now.
I was.
One two that I thought was kind of crazy was Pascal Siakam going to the 76ers rumors. See, the thing is about that, we already have a good bit forwards, and we have Tobias Harris, so I don't get why we would need Pascal Siakam. Like, I just think that would be a bad move in general. Plus, I don't want to see my favorite player get traded to another team. So
I get what you're saying, but if you do trade Tobias, Pascal is like more than enough of a replacement.
But why would the Raptors want to get rid of Siakam when they're literally in a playoff position right now in 8th? I don't get it.
I mean, that's true. I don't know. It's
the only reason why they're really doing good anyway. So why get rid of Pascal?
That's a good point. Cody Zeller underwent knee surgery and is expected to miss 8 to 10 weeks. Derek Jones Jr. fractured his finger and is expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks. Bulls are doing better than I expected because I forgot they had Zach LaVine like a dummy. So let's see. We got Mavs say Tim Hardaway Jr. suffered a fracture of the 5th metatarsal on his left foot. Oof. And then he's going to be out indefinitely. Lauri Markkanen expected to miss multiple weeks after a sprained ankle. Cavaliers, they've had a great team this season, and they've just been plagued by the injury bug. So it sucks to see for them. Maybe next year they'll be a playoff contender.
Yeah. I don't really have anything to say on those. There's there's a lot of injury stuff going on, as you just mentioned. One thing that I thought was pretty weird was the Pacers basically trying to get like another center, and we talked about this I think last week about Miles Turner and how I think he would be good on the Hornets, but basically the Pacers are unlikely to move Domantas Sabonis unless they get a Nikola Vucevic type, which literally I think. Well, the thing is that doesn't make any sense because Domantas Sabonis is basically like Vucevic. Even though he doesn't play the center position, Sabonis basically plays just like him. They're both left-handed. They both rebound a lot, and they both can shoot really good. So I don't know what they're thinking with that.
Well, Indiana is trying to rebuild, so obviously they're getting rid of their core. So I could sort of understand that because, if you remember with the Bulls, they traded, I can't remember what they traded to get Vucevic, but they were trying to rebuild. They got rid of their sort of core, and then they made a top 3 team in the East.
Yeah.
So that makes somewhat sense, even though Sabonis is definitely good enough to build around, I think. And the Pacers have a pretty solid team. I could understand maybe like where you would want to rebuild some parts of the team, but I wouldn't rebuild the whole team because they got a good team.
Yeah. Another thing too, James Harden, he doesn't like living in New York as much as Houston, and the Brooklyn Nets are not listening to offers for him, which I don't think why they would try to offer anything for Harden. He's a good player. I don't get why they want to get rid of him. But Harden, come on, man. I know New York's not a fun place to live right now, especially with all this stuff going on, restrictions and all that. So I can understand why. But then Harden's also probably thinking, I can't party as much in New York right now as much as I used to in Houston. And he probably wants to go to Houston to collaborate with Gideon. Maybe. We'll see.
That'd be cool. Well, then again, Gideon got banned from the Rockets arena because their security team is a walking L.
Hold your seat.
This is my seat.
Well, you better get in there.
Yes, ma'am.
You better put out.
I can't control this.
You better get there.
This is my seat.
You better do something.
I can't do nothing. You guys got to control that. I'm sorry.
No, you need to sit down.
I am sitting down. Hey, Carl, next time you got to get us down front seat.
Yeah, fact show. That was pretty crazy. How dare they do DeMarcus Cousins like that? That was just disrespectful.
I know, right?
Just disgrace. But speaking of craziness going on in the stands, Carmelo gets a 76ers fan banned from the Lakers and 76ers game and banned from the 76ers stadium overall at the Wells Fargo Center.
94-78. Carmelo Anthony is getting into it with some fans here just behind our broadcast area. They've been riding him for about 4 straight possessions. Melo started looking in their direction. The conversation continued, and now Melo has had enough and began to move towards them. Leon Wood has stepped in. Now this fortunately did not go beyond what you're seeing. There was a moment there where Anthony continued to charge, and Kevin.
Past week, man, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as like what some people have said to players. I think a lot of other Philadelphia fans could think of worse. I could probably think of worse. All the guy was like is like, "Hey boy, shoot the ball," and Carmelo Anthony got so mad about that and kicked him out of the arena. Like, bro, if he's like saying like something about your family or like racial slurs or something like that, then that's understandable. But he's trash talking. He's just like, "Hey boy, shoot the ball." I could probably think of worse to say to Carmelo. Like, get.
Has he not played in Utah before?
Right.
Carmelo, Utah fans are way worse than Philadelphia fans. I don't care I don't care who argues with me on that, because that's the truth. Utah fans have had a history of like way worse stuff. And Carmelo, when he was on the Nuggets, he used to play against the Jazz all the time. He didn't do that when he played on the Nuggets. Why is he doing it now for LA? Like, he thinks he has just the right to just. The fans even do that much, like you just said. I mean, they weren't like throwing stuff like and going onto the court. Like, Westbrook's had way worse encounters.
Everybody's talking about the same video, but the realization of it is how it started was young man and his wife in the stands told me to get down on my knees like he used to. And for me, that's just completely disrespectful to me. I think it's racial. I think it's just inappropriate in the sense of there's no protection for the players. I think there are a lot of great fans around the world that like to come to the game and enjoy the game. And there are people that come to the game and to say mean, disrespectful things about me, my family. For many years, man, I've done all the right things. I've never done anything to hurt or harm anybody. I've never been in any trouble. Never fought a fan. Been in the league 11 years. Clean slate.
With fans that Carmelo has, and Carmelo just being soft.
Right.
I mean, if you can't play in that type of environment, you're not gonna be able to play like. Yeah, it's just a mess. I just think it's wrong. And I don't think the 76ers fans that got kicked out should have been banned from the arena or other games. It's just this mess.
I completely agree. Julius Randle could be available for the right return. I heard he's kind of having a down year from his most improved player season. So I don't know why you would want to trade Julius Randle if he's having a down year. I'm not sure because I don't follow the Knicks too much, but that doesn't sound like that good of a move on paper.
Nope.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has a right ankle sprain. Ouch. And there is fear going around the Utah Jazz that Joe Ingles has suffered a significant left knee injury again.
Yeah.
He's getting an MRI today, so we should find the results out.
Yeah, I was going to say he was. So not good for Utah. I mean, they're definitely one of the top teams in the West this year, and then him being out is going to hurt them for sure. Mm-hmm. Before we move on to college basketball and the NHL and that news, I was going to say fantasy basketball league that we are in this week. Me and Mike are going up against each other again, so we'll see how that goes.
I'm on a 5-game losing streak, and I have so many players injured, and Christian is on an 8-game winning streak.
Yep.
Let's see. Who do I have hurt right now on my team? I have Joe Ingles, DeAndre Ayton, Jeremy Graham, Alex Caruso, and Paul George. That's a whole starting lineup injured.
I only have one player injured right now, and that's Dylan Brooks. He's been out for 2 weeks, but yeah, I'm not trying to brag or nothing, but I've been averaging the most points per game of everyone in the league the last 3 weeks, and I had the most points again this week. So we'll see. It's just crazy. Like, I noticed Hayden was on top of the Western Conference in our fantasy league, and he had players get injured the same time you did, and it's cost y'all points wise, and you're still ahead by a little bit in the West or the Eastern Conference.
I'm about to pull a Wizards, and if I lose, I'm going to go below 500 or something. So, 8-7 right now. We'll see what happens. Hopefully I can win.
It looks like you're still in the playoffs, though, because you're top of the East. But, I mean, yeah, it's just the Eastern Conference.
But that's still embarrassing to have to, you're the top team in the league, probably the second best team in the league next to Caden. And then I'm out here dropping L's left and right. In another league, I'm 10-3, so that makes me feel better.
Well, my thing too is Caden hasn't been the top team in the league the last 2 weeks. I mean, I beat him 2 weeks ago, and then he's also I think he barely squeaked by LA or Las Vegas, whoever runs that fantasy team. Yeah, so it's just a mess. But we should move on to college basketball, Mike. There is plenty of college basketball news and just games over the past weekend. Do you have anything you want to share about that, or do you want me to cover it?
You can do it.
So, in the college basketball news, not Alabama, Auburn stays at number 1 in the rankings yet again. 20-1. They're a great team. 17 wins in a row, and they deserve the number 1 spot. Gonzaga, of course, is still going to be number 2 in the rankings, which they are. Kentucky, despite getting beat by Auburn, Kentucky crushed Kansas and moved up 7 spots to number 5 in the rankings. And Baylor got beat too recently. I think who did Baylor lose to? I think they lost to like Oklahoma State or somebody like that. And Baylor had dropped how many spots was it again? They dropped 4 spots to number 8. Kansas dropped. Wisconsin's doing really good right now. They only have 3 losses. They moved up to 11. Michigan State, they've been a little bit overrated recently. They dropped to 13th. Yeah, there's been a lot of like teams that were really good just dropping. Like LSU is another one. LSU had a bad loss the other day. They dropped 6 spots. Marquette and Providence, that was a big game recently. And Marquette ended up losing to Providence. Providence has been a very good team this year. Texas with the upset win over number 18 Tennessee 2 days ago. So Texas is 16-5. I think Texas should be ranked. I don't know if they are right now. Let me look. Texas did move to 23, so they did move into the rankings. Alabama fell out of the rankings. So did Davidson. Let me look at the scoreboard. Purdue had a big win against Ohio State, a much needed win, since they were going up against 16th Buckeyes and the 6 Boilermakers. They won. Basically had a 3-point shot there at the end of the game to win. Huge clutch shot by Jaden Ivey, who had 21 points in that game. And then for Saturday's games, let's see here. Yeah, it was Alabama beat Baylor. That's what I'm going to say, not Oklahoma State. Alabama did beat Baylor. And despite beating Baylor, Alabama's not back in the rankings. So I don't know what's going on with the committee in regarding that. Michigan State, number 10, they beat Michigan on Saturday, 83-67. Huge win for them. And that's all the news I really have for college basketball. Moving on to the NHL. Probably the biggest news in the NHL this past week was the New York Rangers. They retired Henrik. I'm trying to say how to pronounce the name. Is it Henrik Lundovich or Lundkovich? Basically, they raised his jersey, number 30 jersey, in Madison Square Garden. Legendary goalie, one of the best goalies of all time, and some will say possibly the best goalie of all time in the NHL. So he had his jersey number retired. And there wasn't a whole lot of news regarding the NHL this past week. I know the All-Star game's coming up. But let's take a little bit of a recap at the standings right now. Pretty much the same as last week in the Eastern Atlantic. The Tampa Bay Lightning have closed on the Panthers, and they are only 1 game behind right now. So despite a 1-game losing streak, Tampa Bay might be on top, which doesn't surprise me. Florida Panthers, they are on a 3-game winning streak. Carolina Hurricanes have moved up to first in the Metropolitan Division, so big ups for Carolina. Passing by the Rangers. Penguins have been doing quite well recently, even though they are on a 3-game losing streak, but we mentioned this last week. They did really well, and they've moved up to number 3. In the West, still the same. In the Central with the Avalanche and the Predators on top of the Central Division, and then the Pacific Division, the Vegas Golden Knights still on top of the Pacific with Anaheim 2nd, the Kings 3rd. And moving up to 4th, the Calgary Flames. Calgary Flames have been doing well recently. And the Edmonton Oilers, they got Evander Kane, if I'm correct. And they're on a 4-game winning streak. So they've moved up some, even though they're still really far behind. They're out of the playoff race, I think. But that's the standings going on right now. And basically the All-Star game is February the 5th. So that's going to be on ABC. And then we also forgot to mention the Pro Bowl is this coming Sunday for the NFL.
Honestly, I probably won't watch that unless it's Brady's actual last time we'll ever see him play. So, yeah. And then the Super Bowl is in 2 weeks. I'm sorry, what did you say?
My voice is dying, Mike. My voice is dying.
All right, well, your voice will be saved for a little bit. We got the top 20 plays of the week. So coming in at number 20, Jaden Ivey, game winner.
Hunter in the corner, Ivey for the win. He got it! He got it!
Yep, that's the one I mentioned in that game for Purdue and Ohio State.
I will.
At number 19, we got Connor McDavid's shimmy before the shootout goal.
McDavid 1 of 2 this year. Remember, Kyle Turris is the man who's been perfect in the shootout this year. McDavid 10 for 23 lifetime. In on Saros. What a move! Deposits in the back of the net. Saros helpless.
Yeah, you know.
And it's like a 3-point shot. We do shimmy to shoot it, but basically it was that was kind of showboating, but still a pretty interesting play.
At number 18, Klay Thompson hits a dagger and Kyrie Irving removes it.
Back to Thompson. Thompson three-pointer. Bang! Klay Thompson from downtown. Put your two best players in the action. Klay Thompson slips the high screen. Give Steph Curry credit, the patience to get rid of the basketball and trust his dynamic dance partner. Quick hitter. Preferably a 3, but either way, a quick basket. Irving finds room. Three-pointer is good. Kyrie Irving loves that right side against him. To his right hand, elevates over the contest of Looney. You must be crazy.
At number 17, we got Vince Williams go-ahead 3 for the win.
Williams, shot clock at 7. This kid is phenomenal. Williams Jr.
At number 16, John Collins blocks Jason Tatum's dunk.
Tatum driving and denied by John Collins at the rim.
That one was a great play. I think I would put it a little bit closer to the top 10 spot. But moving on to number 15, we got Devin Booker's smooth fake pass layup.
Up ahead to Book. Little show and go. Took it behind the back. Runs it to the rack.
At number 14, Trace Jackson Davis putback slam.
At number 13, we got CJ McCollum's impressive pass.
Jay probes, double, no look. Here comes Nurk, rumbling down the tracks to lay it up and in, and he delivers.
He got through Porzingis and Maxi Kleba to Nurkic. Very impressive pass. At number 12, Trevor Zagaris behind the net goal.
Knocked out of the playoffs in that second round series with the Winnipeg Jets. And there's a lacrosse goal from behind the net. From Trevor Zegras, right off the ensuing face-off.
What?
And Montembeault was not ready for that.
What a move. How can you be?
At number 11, we got the Charlotte Hornets' own Miles Bridges windmill slam.
The basket is when it's behind him of any guy in the NBA.
Yeah, no doubt.
Look at that outlet pass.
At number 10, Luka Doncic buzzer beater at the half.
There was like no way that he was going to miss that shot. There was just not a chance in the world that he was going to miss that shot.
Some stars are made and then others are born.
At number 9, we got Mikey Williams reverse hand switch slam.
At number 8, Kid shoots his senior night ball and makes it.
I said say less.
I saw that. I was like, I knew Mike would probably put this one in the top 10 list. I thought that was pretty crazy. But moving on to number 7, we got Desmond Bane's big block, which led to a double windmill slam. So very cool to see.
Dinwiddie on a spin away. Oh, Desmond Bane! That's insane, Bane! No basket. Offensive foul.
Yeah, not that great for me to see, but yeah.
The reason why I said Desmond Bain, didn't Desmond Bain play on Maryland?
I don't remember him. I gotta look that up.
I thought he did. That's why I thought it was cool. That's why I thought it was cool, but I didn't realize that I forgot to say that John Morant was the end of that windmill slam, so my fault.
At number 6, Luke Kennard, game winner to complete the Clippers' 35-point comeback.
Kennard got to watch out. 3 seconds, puts up the shot, hits it, and the foul! Are you kidding me?
Thanks, Bradley, for that foul.
Pain for Mike. But moving on to number 5, we got Evan McPherson's game-winning field goal to send the Bengals to the Super Bowl.
And Cincinnati is heading to the Super Bowl.
He called it again, I'm sure. He walked up and he goes, "Can you believe, Coach? We're going to the Super Bowl." And they did it. They beat Mahomes at home. Wow, Joe Burrow. No way.
At number 4, Luka Doncic fake pass leads to a real pass and a 3.
Sabonis brings to the floor.
Doncic on the okey-doke. Kleba, down it goes.
At number 3, we got this. Is this Kansas or Kentucky fan hitting this half-court? Yeah, Kansas fan hitting this half-court shot, so that was pretty cool.
That might be it. He's got it.
Oh,
there it is. Connor's going to get injured.
At number 2, Dude Perfect trick shot
is a work of art.
Pool trick shot.
Did they pay you to put that at number 2?
No.
That's fun.
I know you would. I should have said no.
And at number 1, we got basically there's this tie. Basically, this kid made this shot from behind the backboard for the win.
I don't care how bad you are, son. If somebody else out there just a little bit better, I said, no, hell no. Mama, somebody got to be the bad.
And then the students were like chanting Kobe.
No, it's not like that. The kid, first off, he shot the ball behind the backboard, and then the Kobe one is a separate thing.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I haven't seen that yet, but I'll see it in the video.
But yeah, I don't know if the Kobe thing was this week, so that's why I put it as a tie. But otherwise, that would probably be number 1 because Kobe's death anniversary was just this past week. So yeah.
Okay.
That will conclude this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
You want me calling, you wanting what I think.